This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to Models Memories Weekly, episode 257. Models Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where I talk about painting, modeling, and working experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 videos a week? How? Could I possibly have more to say? Well, I do, and here goes. This week, Games Workshop actually showed off a whole bunch of really cool new minis, and there's a very interesting piece of merch. One of those new minis is from the Adeptus Mechanicus, which are all about technology, and what shape is most technology? Squares. And today's sponsor, Squarespace, is here to help with that. Squarespace allows anyone to design the website of their dreams with the most powerful and easiest design tools in the industry, like Design Blueprint. Using AI technology empowers anyone to build a more personalized website tailored to their needs, crafting a bespoke digital identity. Choose from a professionally curated selection of styling options to build a unique online presence from the ground up. Squarespace makes sure it's easy to launch your website and get discovered fast with integrated optimized SEO tools, so you show up more often to more people and grow the way you want. With Squarespace, it's never been easier to set up a unique online storefront. Whether your services are physical, digital, or service-based, selling your wares has never been easier. Squarespace offers an unmatched ability to showcase your unique wares with images, videos, reviews, and add-ons, all capped off with their seamless checkout tools, letting your customers use whatever system they prefer, whether Klarna, ACH Direct Deposit, Apple Pay, Afterpay, or ClearPay. Squarespace offers a free trial for you to dip your feet into and test the waters, and ready to dive in headfirst, you can go to squarespace.com/EonsOfBattle or follow the link in the description to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Games Workshop showed off a bunch of super cool new minis, and one of those that I wasn't expecting any of these new minis, but one of them that really caught my eye. I do have an Age of Sigmar army. I have the Sylvaneth. I think I have almost a full Sylvaneth army. I do like the tree people, and there is a new Sylvaneth mini, the Grove Guardian. This is a unique character, and it is very unique. It is a Dryad leader character, and I really like it. But I do have a critique, and it is much more of a diorama than it is a miniature. It does irk me a little bit when Games Workshop goes the diorama route. One that hurts me personally is the Black Templar's High Marshal Helbrecht. I love Helbrecht. I bring him in most of my games. He's an absolute beast on the tabletop, one of the best Space Marine characters in the game. But he's on a humongous 60mm base with a couple of servitors running around like near him. And it's really annoying. It doesn't feel right when he and like 5 sword bros hops out of a transport and their footprint is double the size of the transport's. Arguably, it's actually a helpful feature for him to have such a large base because for combat range, you need to be within an inch of another model that's in close combat. And so if he's the one in base to base, then he can get potentially more models in close combat. But that doesn't feel fun and interesting that on a technicality, it's good for him to be on a big base. Like I would much rather, he's a Space Marine guy. He should be standing on a Space Marine base. And also just him being a diorama, it just feels a little weird on the tabletop. I don't necessarily like seeing it like that on the tabletop. Like the Triumph of St. Catherine is another kind of horrendous diorama of a miniature. What's the name of the Boner Boys guy? Scatros? No, that's the AdMech guy. Katos? The big guy for the Boner Boys in Age of Sigmar, he is on an absolute diorama, and it doesn't feel like a mini. And I would say that this model is definitely leaning into diorama land. I do like it a lot. The thing that kind of irks me also is this Dryad looks incredible. The way the bark kind of like flows into the shape of a person. I like the big chonky feet. In my opinion, if you want a character to look like a tree, just give him big tree trunk legs. I feel like that just does such a good job of turning a human into like the silhouette of a plant. I really like it. I like the giant sickle. I like pouring out the goo. I don't know. I think that's water from the Everpools, but it's just such like a neat little feature that is on a bunch of different Sylvaneth miniatures. I do think that the tree looks really good, and it's interesting to see a new Spite Revenant growing underneath inside of a little like curled up flower petal. Like I like everything about the mini. I just wish it was a war mini and not like a pretty cool diorama mini. It's fine. It's interesting. I'll probably get it because I do really like it, but it's just Would it be just cut off the tree, put her on the ground, maybe have like a couple of other little dryads running around near her if you wanted to like bulk up how powerful this character feels? Because also like the presence is another thing that is interesting. And this character feels like they have so much presence because there's a literal tree on the base. But does the tree add extra attacks? Does the tree add extra survivability? Like, what does the tree mean in terms of gameplay? Which is, and then the gameplay itself is just, we're pretending that a war is happening, or we're acting out a battle and what would be happening during the battle. And would the Grove Guardian really bring the tree to the battle with the little like cocooned baby Spite Revenant on the bottom as well? I don't know, I'm kind of in two minds about it because I do really like everything about it, but it just doesn't feel like a mini to me. It doesn't feel like a toy, and I like toys. But speaking of toys, we got some 40k toys as well in a new named character for the Adeptus Mechanicus. I have been playing against the Adeptus Mechanicus a lot lately. A buddy of mine plays them, and I've been fighting against Call, and Call has not survived a single battle yet. But there's now a new contender for named characters for the Adeptus Mechanicus, and that is Talia Gould, which is a very interesting name because Games Workshop is very specifically trying to make sure that their stuff is very copyrightable, and Talia Gould is dangerously close to Talia al Ghul from Batman. Like, she's not even like a really unknown Batman villain. She was in Dark Knight Rises. Like, most people could probably catch that name as a Batman thing. It's not Calendar Man. So I just thought that was really interesting that Games Workshop picked a name that is dangerously close to another famous name. But looking at the actual miniature, it is glorious. It's really, really cool. I like the feet a lot. It's got the same kind of spiky legs as a lot of the Adeptus Mechanicus walkers, but I do like that instead of walking on the tippy point, the leg has kind of folded over and it's resting against like the flat wide section, which actually makes a ton of sense. Like if this character was walking across like a bunch of like boulders or rubble, you'd probably want that point to help dig into the ground and like lock you in place. But if you're just walking on the surface, you probably would want a larger flat pad for your foot. And so I think it actually does a lot of storytelling of like, why do the Adeptus Mechanicus have these spider legs? It's because of this. It's because it's actually really effective and really useful. Looking at the rest of her though, she is a mess of Adeptus Mechanicus stuff, and it is all looking really, really cool. She's holding something in her hand, a little box with a keyhole in it, and it's probably not an STC, but I don't think that there is canonical depictions of STCs. Technically, that might even just be script or like digital code that tells the Imperium how to make something, or rather how to manufacture the thing that can manufacture the thing. That's actually like a lore, like there's actually lore behind why a lot of Games Workshop miniatures look very similar. And that is because in the far, far future, humanity has lost a lot of the technology that they originally invented. And so now they have the ability to keep the machines running that can make things, but they don't necessarily have the technology to make new things. And so that box, you never know, that could be an STC. The giant gun is really cool. She's got like little iPads like this floating like in front of her in her hands, in some of her hands, which is a really, really fun detail. And the Archmagos scepter, or the cog, the machine axe, is really, really nice touch. And there's a little servitor who's plugging fresh batteries into her stick. I really, really like this mini. It'll be really interesting to see what it does in game, because Call is almost an auto-include unit for the Adeptus Mechanicus. His buffs are so necessary for a lot of your units. It'll be interesting to see what she can do. Like, is she a unit? She's probably gonna be at least 100 points, if not more, judging by like how big she is and how important and impressive she looks. And so it'll be interesting to see what she does for the army, because AdMech is a bunch of pretty good data sheets that do need like +1 save or +1 to hit to really be that valuable on the tabletop. So I'm really interested to see her data sheet. But speaking of new data sheets, the Heavy Hastari Infantry. These are a brand new Adeptus Mechanicus unit And they're Necron Immortals with Tesla carbines. They just are that. It's the exact same silhouette, it's the exact same shape. They even have the same kind of hunched face and big, broad, flat shoulders. Like, they're literally the Necron unit, which actually makes a lot of sense lore-wise for the Adeptus Mechanicus. They do tend to steal and like repurpose technology. And so it would almost make sense if the AdMech fought against the Necrons and they were like, the Immortals are a really, really powerful, cool thing. It would make sense for them to kind of invent their own version of that. I do like these guys a lot. One small critique is the feet. I don't know why Games Workshop makes the daintiest little feet. Like, if these guys are clearly super roboticized, like they've been turned into robots so that they can carry these humongous guns, give them big old feet so that they can really plant themselves and not fall over when they shoot their Tesla guns. I just think I do like the backwards legs, like the animal style legs, but then just give them a big robo brick foot. I think that would be a really, really nice touch on these guys. I like that they're little, those aren't Volkite pistols. My friend keeps shooting my tanks with them and they always bounce. But I like that their little pistols are mounted to their shoulders. I really like those Tesla guns. There's also a different gun, which is a little bit more of like a las-canny looking thing. But I think the Tesla guns look really, really cool. And I hope that they have some good rules, because the Necrons can have Tesla guns, but they're arguably not that good. They can be sustained hits too, and they can be critting on 5s and 6s with the right Cryptek enhancements, but just a ton of strength for AP zip. You just can't rely on it or count on it. So hopefully these guns are something better than just a whole bunch of strength 4. From my eye, just looking at these minis, that's the profile that I see when I look at them. But hopefully they got a little something. Maybe lethal hits. Just give them lethal hits. Arguably, all bolter style weapons should have lethal hits. Like, it's a grenade. It should have the chance to go off and just automatically deal damage. So I like the look of these guys a lot. They're a little hunchbacky. There's not a lot of human left in these suckers, but overall, I think that they're really, really neat. And it'll be interesting to see how they fit into the Adeptus Mechanicus, because right now there's the Skitarii Rangers and there's the Skitarii Vanguard, and I don't know the difference. I've been fighting against them. Skitarii seem to do not much of anything, but they're really, really necessary for keeping near your guys, because there are certain buffs that only go off when you're within 6 inches of Skitarii infantry. But these guys look like they maybe have a little bit more power, but not a lot more power. And I do enjoy a good heavy infantry on the tabletop. I mean, anything to not have to face more tanks. Tanks are boring. I don't like fighting against a ton of tanks, and more infantry is always more good. I think it's really, really cool that Adeptus Mechanicus is getting some new miniatures, just some new stuff. I want to see, Skitarii is a little bit of a monoculture. Everybody paints them red because they look really, really good in red. They're like styled to be the Martian Adeptus Mechanicus. But there are other design philosophies. There's the weird like helicopter-y flying machine thing, like the Da Vinci style constructs that are very like a throwback to like steampunk design. And then there's also cowboys in the Cerberus Raiders, which are the horsey riders for the Adeptus Mechanicus, who are just literally cowboys. And I don't know how to get the square to fit in the circular hole. It's a little bit weird with the Adeptus Mechanicus. And so I would like to see some more kind of like sub-faction specific things in the Adeptus Mechanicus, because I feel like every Adeptus Mechanicus army that I see looks identical, where some of the other factions like Orcs and especially Space Marines and Imperial Guard, you know, if you're gonna be playing against Space Marines, you don't know what type of Space Marines you're gonna be facing. They could be Space Wolves, they could be Vikings, they could be Ninjas, they could be Blue, they could be anything. But Adeptus Mechanicus, probably gonna be the Red Martian guys. I am really interested to see what the rules look like for these new things. Games Workshop has been publishing some hot rules lately. I feel like everything has been a little bit on the broken side. The Vicatrix Honor Guard, the new Catan Shard of the Deceiver is probably a little bit too good. The Demon Prince for Emperor's Children, too good. And so it'll be interesting to see what these new data sheets look like. But speaking of things that are not new miniatures, but actually kind of interesting, there is a new merch item for Warhammer 40k, the Map of the Imperium knitted blanket. I actually really like this. I don't really go for the Games Workshop merch very often, but this is really cool. It's an actual map of the universe in 40k. It's got all of the key locations mapped out on there. We got the remains of Cadia, the Eye of Terror, Attila, Baal, Valhalla. We've got the Imperium Sanctus and Imperium Nihilus. I really like the simplicity in the colors that they use to depict all of the different things on this map. I like the tassel fringe. I think that this is a really, really cool piece. Like, I want to get this and hang it on my wall. I think it looks really, really cool. And I kind of, like, it would make a good poster, but I feel like putting it in a frame would feel a little bit lame. I think making it into a knit blanket just adds a little extra touch of something that makes it kind of an interesting piece. I really, really like it. Definitely steep at 75 bones. Holy cow. I feel like maybe the $45 range would be preferable. It is just a small blanket, but it is really, really cool. And I do like that it is actually knit. I've been burned so many times on cool, ugly Christmas sweaters where they print on a fake knit pattern. And it's like, I really, really like this design, but it's not an actual knit sweater. It's just a sweatshirt with some printing on it. It's lame. Like, I'm not gonna get it because of that, but I think the design is really cool. This, I do like that it is an actual knit thing, and I like it a lot. It reminds me of like 7th edition 40k when I bought the Necron Codex for 7th edition, and it was probably the worst era of codexes in Games Workshop's history, but there was a map of the galaxy that showed the location of Necron tomb worlds, and I don't know if they were just really, really making sure that they only showed off blips of Necron places that have been mentioned before in lore, but there was like 5 dots on the map of the galaxy of like, these are the Necron tomb worlds that we know about. And there's like 5. There was nothing. Why not make 100 blips? Like, the Necrons conquered the galaxy and are one of the greatest threats to the Imperium of mankind. Just put in 1,000,000 dots, or just say like mysterious, like, we think there might be tomb worlds here. And then there's like 1,000,000,000 dots, but there's only 5 that are known and named. It was the lamest thing. It's like, why even provide this map if there's no information on it? This map actually does have some nice information on it. And then we got Terra and Mars right over where they should be, near the galactic core. Actually, technically, that's not the galactic core. That is where the Votan live. But the good old Terra and Mars, and they have their own little circle of, this is the actual important stuff in the galaxy. Also, what's going on with Imperium Nihilus? I haven't read a lot of the newer novels for 40k, and so I don't know. I'm caught up on Gathering Storm, but I don't know what's currently happening. Like, the Imperium was cut in half, and presumably Imperium Nihilus is a really, really bad time, but I just don't feel like there's that much information on what is going in the dark half of the galaxy. Games Workshop is stuck in this cycle of, they want to progress to make interesting things, but they can't progress the story to a point where anything has happened. Everyone needs to remain alive. All of the factions need to remain at their current power level. The Tyranids can't devour the galaxy. Nobody can really ever ally with each other. Everything has to remain exactly the same, but the story must go on. And I kind of like that it's silly in that way, but it'll also be a little bit more interesting. Maybe they should do something like Dark Horse used to do, where there would be like just non-canonical what ifs. Like, what if the Imperium, like, what if all of the almost good alien species and humanity joined together to fight against the orcs and the Tyranid? Or what if Gazgul managed to become a proper Krork? Or not Krork, what is the super orcs? I think they are Krorks. What if Gazgul transcended to become a super orc and then just went to absolutely dominate the galaxy? Because technically, there's a lot of orcs. The orcs are a really, really big deal. The only thing that is saving humanity is that they're all fighting each other. Like, most orc battles are against other orcs. They're not a unified force. But if they were, that would be a real big issue. It would be probably a really, really interesting story. It would probably end 40k as we know it, but it'd be an interesting thread to pull on. And speaking of threads, all of this came from me looking at this really cool knit blanket. I really like it. And you know what else I really like? EonsOfBattle.com. On our website, we have all kinds of hobby goodies, Grey Tide Studio bits to spice up your Space Marines, Army Painter paints, brushes, basing cork, and glue. We got ultra thick and ultra thin super glue. And we have terrain. It's the best way to support us doing what we do by getting a membership. Each month, members get a credit good for any one terrain pack we've ever made, or the brand new one. New in February, we've created the Invaded City Bits Pack, a series of thematic pieces to tell the story of an alien civilization awakening underneath an oblivious Gothic city. This pack features the bits for filling in the flat sections of bases, and many obelisks and pyramids of varying sizes to show off the power of this alien architecture. There's also plenty of Gothic elements to show the poor human settlement that is quickly being overtaken by implacable metal. And of course, no alien takeover would be complete without some critters to sprinkle some otherworldly flavor over your bases. This terrain is available physically and as STL from EonsOfBattle.com. Tons of really cool new stuff for Warhammer 40,000. The year has kind of been popping off for 40k. And probably we're getting 11th edition this year. It's going to be a big year for 40k. I've been trying to play a little bit more. I've actually got a game tonight that I'm looking forward to. It's good. It's a good time for 40k. Thanks for watching.